So Studio Kind came at a bit of a random time. I moved to North Devon when I finished my BA. So I left London and went to North Devon for what I thought was going to be a very short period of time, but ended up being like 7 years. And I was making a lot of work down there, but relying on exhibiting further afield. I desperately wanted to find some kind of studio complex with other artists so I could kind of engage with what other people were doing and have conversations with people and kind of make some stuff happen. I've always been really interested in sort of artist-led initiatives, so I was kind of desperately seeking this out as like, you know, a fresh fine art graduate, and just wasn't really finding a lot. Certainly not a lot of people who were interested in the same things that I was interested in. I had this idea that I really wanted to set up an artist-led space in Devon, but even though we've got a lot of outdoor space, there's not a lot of building space necessarily available, and it just wasn't something that I ever felt like I'd financially be able to make it into a reality. But then someone I knew who lived down the road from me, because it's a very small community, kind of spoke to me. He had a print studio in this big sort of industrial space out the back of Tesco, and it was just him working in there, and he had this idea to turn the space into an art gallery, and he kind of had a name and the space itself, but he sort of said to me, you know, he's not really sure how to push it forward and if I'd be interested in doing it with him. So that's how Studio Kind of came about. I wrote our sort of mission statement. We set the business up as a non-profit. We're a community interest company, which is really important to us, that we weren't setting up a commercial art space, and that we were setting up a space where we could engage with our local community, as well as putting on exhibitions by artists who we were really excited by. And we really wanted a space that not only was a platform for Southwest-based artists. There's few and far between spaces down in the Southwest. Well, there are some really incredible spaces in the Southwest, but they're also spread out, and it's really hard to get opportunities as an artist in the Southwest. So I wanted to create a platform for Southwest-based artists, but I also really wanted to bring exciting work from around the rest of the UK to Devon, because my experiences were that I was often having to travel really long distances for a lot of money to go to the likes of, you know, Bristol, Manchester, London, Brighton, to see exhibitions, rather than just being able to tie it in with popping into town. So there were these kinds of three areas that I was interested in sort of representing at the gallery. There's also not a huge amount of sort of diversity in Devon, so I was really excited by the idea of kind of through art bringing really diverse voices to the area as well, and it helps link up, you know, North Devon particularly. We don't have a huge amount of infrastructure in terms of public transport. You can end up feeling quite isolated. You know, you have to go through the moors to get to where we are on the coast, and I really wanted to kind of link North Devon up with not just the rest of the Southwest, but also the rest of the UK as well, and kind of put us on some kind of map. So this idea of supporting artists from the area, to kind of amplify their voices, and then amplifying other voices, you know, from the rest of the UK to our communities, and then working with, because from living down there and having friends who had gone on to be artists from Devon but were like living elsewhere, you know, one of the things people would say is, as young people, they just weren't coming into contact with a lot of contemporary art. So I just really wanted to have a space that was engaging straight away with schools and getting young people into contemporary art spaces and having those conversations, you know, from an early age. So that's kind of how it came about. We've now moved. This year we moved to a new space. We were in this unit out the back of Tesco for a few years in Braunton, which is a village, and we were on the outskirts of the village. We've now moved into a new space in the middle of our kind of local town, which is Barnstaple. So we're much better. It's much easier for people to access us and travel to us, and we're in a council-owned building now, so it's really nice that the council's supporting us. When we started, we had studio spaces and a kind of printmaking studio. The space that we're in now is quite different, but one of the kind of strands of our activity is we do solo exhibitions, which is what our curated program is, and that means that we're really able to give someone, it's not a huge space, but it's big enough that it's ambitious, so it's really good for that kind of like professional development and time in someone's practice when they want to like push something forward, push through an idea. We've had a lot of people who have exhibited with us who maybe it's their first solo show, they've exhibited a lot in group shows. And we also apply for Arts Council funding, which means that we have a small fee that we can give artists to support them. I support all of our artists in whatever funding applications they want to make on top of that as well, which is quite good. And then we have like specific strands as well, like we work in collaboration with Cast Gallery, which is an incredible artist-led space down in Plymouth. And we work with some of their studio holders to give one of them a solo show when they're at sort of a really critical point in their careers or practice. So that sort of professional development and giving artists space and time to develop a new body of work or kind of build on a body of work that they've been developing for a while is something that, like, especially as in my role as curator, that's what I really enjoy doing. But then we do, we do some group shows. We're like a project space, so if people want to use us for their own projects, kind of independently, that's fine. And we do some open calls as well to kind of keep a dialogue going between, other local artists as well. We just had our big summer open, which is always lots of artists from across Devon, which is really fun. So there's a lot going on. It's quite varied.